Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. So now we are starting the marathon for O-level math, and let's focus on few things that will ensure that you get your desired grade. So now, first of all, as far as the preparation is concerned, I think you have done enough. So that is the first thing that you need to realize. A lot of people will distract you. They will give you questions to try it out. And then they will ask you that, let's solve this new paper that just came in. Or let's solve this particular difficult question from maybe like 100 years ago. So don't be distracted. Whatever you have done enough. And what should you do with the rest of the time? That's a very common question that people ask. So let me remove all these arrows. Now, with the rest of the time, what you need to do is just flip through the pages. Flip through the past papers, which are very, very recent, because there has been a difference in the quality of work, in the length of the question over the years. So now very, very recent past papers, I would prefer that you go over 2024, 2023, 2022 max. And now just focus on those topics which were not tested before. So some people would say, and people can also message me on WhatsApp. I'm more active on WhatsApp. That this number pattern did not came. Totally agreed. Graphical solution of equation, something to do with cubic sketches, something to do with trigonometry, and what about something new from the syllabus? Exponential word problem. And the rest of the thing are the same as before. People have told me that probability came, maybe something to do with relative frequency, these kind of questions. So these are the major topics that will come. And the rest of the thing will be the mainstream things, that is arithmetic, which is also known by the name numbers. That thing will be there. That will include percentages, ratios, part and parcel of everyday maths, maybe currency conversion. That is one of the favorite. Maybe some graphs related to currency conversion. Let's say this is pound and this is dollars, and there is a graph and maybe something like this. And I think scatter plot, someone said that scatter plot came. If it did not, therefore there is a possibility it will come. Something to do with pie chart, something to do with bar chart, pictogram, pictures are there, and you get the basic idea from it. So these are the different kind of questions that will be there. So what I'll do is that let me go to some papers from 2023 and let me go over those. So let's see. Let me start. This is 2022, or why don't we start with 2022? So now, first of all, I think this is a good question to just revise the basic idea, something to do with petrol and amount and percentage and everything. So let's start looking at this question. So I hope those people who have joined in, everything is good, everything is clear. Okay. So because electricity just came in, there was a switch between the generator and the electricity. Now, someone asked this question, and let me deal with these questions also. Sir, I fumbled by paper one. I need a high score in paper two. If I do the topics you telling to do, will I get my expected grades? People, there is a very big problem. I am simply listing down the topics that did not came. Okay. So topics which were not there in P1, chances are they will be in P2. That's all. So it's just an educated guess. And secondly, yes, there will be some of my favorite questions, and I'll highlight them. I'll ask you to take a screenshot. So let me just use this thing over here. I'll put a pink paper over there and I'll ask you to take a screenshot. So let me just, these are my favorite questions for tomorrow. And I'll ask you to take a screenshot. So you can take a screenshot and then this one. Someone says, sir, please do hard probability past papers, please. Okay, let me go on it. So now let's get started. Look at this first question. The first question is, in 2020, the running cost for Frederick's car was 5,200. 28% was on insurance, 3/25 on maintenance, $740 on tax. The remainder was spent on petrol. So 28% of this much, 3/25 of this much. So percentage is there, fraction is there, 740 fixed amount is there. The difference is this much. This is on petrol. Basic question. In 2021, the tax increased by 1.5%. Calculate the tax in 2021. So when they say tax, that means the amount. So 100 becomes 101.5, 100 plus 1.5 over 100, correct? Or simply 100 plus 1.5, that is 1.1 over 1.5. Therefore, 740 becomes X, and that is the answer. In January, the cost of petrol is 2.20 per liter. Find the cost of 38.7 liters of petrol. That is multiplication. The average amount of petrol Frederick's car uses is 7 liter per 100 kilometer. And in January, he spends 215.6 on petrol. Calculate the number of kilometers he drives in January. Now, first of all, if I take this amount, which is 2.2, and I multiply it with 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So that is 15.40 for 100 kilometers. So 15.40 for 100 kilometers, 215.6 for D kilometers. D comes out to be 1400. That is basic ratio question. And then what is the next one? The next one is this thing. In February, the cost of petrol increases to this much. Calculate the percentage increase. 2.20 becomes 2.24. Original increase of 4 cents on this value. That is the basic idea. Original, final, percentage, cost price, selling price, that basic thing should be there. Now let me focus on a graph, which is, let me first look for a mensuration question. Let me focus on this. People do ask a lot about mensuration. I won't go through every single easy question. I would focus on the moderate and the more difficult ones. Easy, you can handle it yourself. Someone asked, what is the favorite chapter of tomorrow? So I just told you that this pink thing will decide that thing. It would just be an educated guess and nothing more. So don't expect anything leaked out or anything like that. So a cuboid has dimensions such and such. The volume of cuboid is this. Find the value of X. So that is X into 10. That is equals to this. So value of X is 2.5. Sector. This is a question of sector and becoming a cone. So let's take, for example, this sector. And if I roll it, it becomes a cone. Then the radius of the sector becomes the slant height. You have to just visualize. So that is the cone like this. So I roll it and this radius becomes the slant height. The arc length AB, when it is rolled, that becomes the circumference of the base of the circle. And area of this sector, that is the curved surface area. First of all, show that the arc length of the sector is 7 pi, 84 over 360 into 2 pi r. This is 7 pi. Now, this is a nice question. So I'm just putting that thing over here, the pink card. So this is a nice question. That is about a sector becoming a cone. Again, just an educated guess. If you want to take a screenshot, please go ahead and do so because I cannot stop in the middle. This is May, June 2022, variant 21. So now it says OA is joined to OB to form the curved surface area of the cone. So OA joined to OB and it becomes the curved surface area of the cone. Calculate the radius of the cone. So the sector becomes the cone. It's a hollow cone. The arc length becomes the circumference. Radius becomes the slant height. So therefore, this 7 pi was what? The arc length. That arc length becomes this thing, the circumference. So this is capital R is this thing. Calculate the radius of the cone, that is capital R. And if they ask me about the height, I can use Pythagoras theorem because length is given. The radius becomes the slant height. R is 3.5. Therefore, I can use Pythagoras theorem and find H over here. There it is. So that is how H is obtained. Got the idea? So now let's move ahead. This one, because sector was asked in paper 1, so this thing can be asked in paper 2, that is about cylinder. So let me again write over here, nice question. And this is about cylinder. And this is about rate of volume with respect to time. So this is volume with respect to time. And therefore, what is the question about? Again, take a screenshot. Someone asked me, what time will you start S2 marathon? S2 marathon, the time was listed over there. That is, inshallah ta'ala, 9:45 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Okay. So now over here, it says an empty barrel in the shape of a cylinder has a radius 20, height 80. The barrel is filled with water at a rate of 5,500 centimeter cube per minute. Calculate the time taken to completely fill the barrel. So radius is given, height is given. Step 1, illustrate the details. Now, let me focus on the steps. You have to show all the steps. Illustrate on the details. This is the volume. Let me write in terms of pi. Later on, and plug in the value of pi. Step 2, what is that? Volume and minutes. So 5,500 centimeter cube per minute. What does it mean? In 1 minute, the volume is 5,500. So if the volume is 32,000 pi centimeter cube, how much time will it take? Ratio proportion, 18.28 minutes. They're asking about minutes and seconds. So isolate the minute, that is 18. Isolate the minutes, that is 18. And 0.28 into 60, that is 16.8. Rounded up, that is 17 seconds because it says to the nearest second. So that is a basic calculation. Loci is no more part of the syllabus. Yes, starts and probability. Let me again put a pink mark over here. So this thing is about what? Where should I put the mark? Over here. So now over here, again, it's a nice question. Let me minimize it so that you can take a screenshot. So now let me get started with this. It says Yasser travels to work by car, bus, train, or bike. There are 4 modes of transport. And it says the probabilities of using these means of transport on any workday are shown below. Since he is using only 4 of these possibilities, therefore all the probabilities should add up to 1. So P comes out to be 0.22 or 22%. That decimal conversion to percentage, that should be well versed. Find the probability that on Monday and Tuesday he travels to work by train on one day and by bus on the other. So the order matters. It could be bus, train, or train, bus. Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Bus on Monday, train on Tuesday, or vice versa. Let me write the word or over here. Or means add. Multiply the probability, add it up. This is a paper 2 question. You can use a calculator. And then this is very, very important. This thing over here, this concept is very, very important from the perspective of probability. It says, find the probability he travels to work by bus at least once or Wednesday or Tuesday. At least once. It means exactly once or more than once, which in this case is only two because we are only talking about 2 days. So either it could be Wednesday and not Thursday. It could be not Wednesday, it could be Thursday, or it could be both Wednesday and Thursday. That is what we have done. So Wednesday traveling, Thursday not, Thursday not. I think I just mixed this thing up, or I just changed the days. Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, both. Green is yes, red is no. There is also an alternative method. Very few people realize it. 1 minus probability of no traveling on Wednesday, no traveling on Thursday. That will give me all these three options. So 0.6 into 0.6, that's 0.36. 1 minus 0.36 is 0.64. This thing is done. Let me focus on trigonometry is good. Mensuration, I mean, this thing was asked earlier. Yes, let's not underestimate this thing. Coordinate geometry. I'm not marking it as a favorite. I'm just revising it. P is the point 3 minus 3. Q is the point 1 comma 5. Calculate the length. That is the distance formula. Leave the answer in the exact form if you want, or convert it into decimals. If you convert into decimals, work final answer 3SF. So let me just write over here. This is O Math 2025 important pointers. So now this is favorite or the nice questions. Now, as far as accuracy is concerned, I'm writing it over and over again. Work in at least 4SF. At least 4SF includes 4SF. That is enough. So that the final answer is given correct to 3SF. That is for answers which are not exact. If it's exact, leave the answer as it is. What about angle in degrees? We are talking about angle in degrees, and in O-level maths, we only talk about degrees. Work in at least 2 dp, decimal places, so that the final answer is 1 dp. And of course, that's a universal rule which says unless otherwise stated. Maybe they are asking for an angle and they are saying, okay, give the answer to the nearest integer. So you have to listen to the examiner. Since they are asking to the nearest integer, just give the answer to the nearest integer. That's all about it. Coming back to that particular thing, find the equation of perpendicular bisector. Something very important. People ask this a lot. And this part, let me label it. So this is also a nice one. Basic but nice. So basic but nice. Now our aim is not to lose a single mark in paper 2, so that you can comfortably have your A star. Don't aim for A, aim for A star. Even if you drop, you would land on A. So now over here, we have P, we have Q. The first step, that is find the gradient of PQ. Therefore, gradient of perpendicular bisector is negative reciprocal. So from here to here, use the concept of negative reciprocal. This is step number 1. What is step number 2? And the order could change between these two. Step number 2, that is the midpoint of P and Q. That is 2, 1. So now you have this thing. Now you have this thing. That brings us to step number 3. That is equation of perpendicular bisector. Y is equals to mx plus c. First, we plug in the value of m. Then we insert value of y. That is over here. And then value of x. That is over here. And then what do we evaluate? We evaluate this thing, which is C. So we evaluate C. C comes out to be half. And then you write this equation, and don't forget to write on this dotted line. That is the basic thing. Let's move ahead. And if there is an examiner report, it's not over here. I mean, I'll just give you the detail. Otherwise, that would consume too much of the time. Let's move on. This question, kinematics, someone said that this came. Just let me know that if kinematics came or not. This second part about upper bound, lower bound, if I don't remember, there are so many chapters, whether it came or not. If it did not, definitely it will come. So again, this is a nice question on lower bound, upper bound. So some people who are on the group, they can let me know individually, or they can write in the comment section. So I'll just have a look. So now over here, it says a car travels 352 kilometers, correct, to the nearest kilometer. The time taken to travel, kinematics was there. Okay, so that is why I'll just focus on upper bound, lower bound. So the time taken to travel, the distance is 4.2 hours, correct, to the nearest 0.1 hour. Understand this very, very thoroughly. When it's to the nearest integer or nearest unit, we add and subtract 0.5. So 352, subtract 0.5 lower bound, add 0.5 upper bound. When it's already given to one decimal place, of course, it means to the nearest 0.1 hour or nearest 1/10 of an hour. It means the same thing exactly. So we add and subtract 0.05. So nearest integer, add and subtract 0.5. Nearest one decimal place, add and subtract 0.05. So this is 4.2 plus 0.05, 4.2 minus 0.05. Now, if they ask for the average speed is total distance over time taken. So it's a scenario of division. When it is about division, if you want the upper bound, then the numerator should be upper bound, denominator should be lower bound. And if you want a lower bound, numerator should be lower bound, denominator should be upper bound. You can try it out for yourself. That is something very logical. Because if this is very big and this is very small, you will get a very big value. On the flip side, this is what happens. So since we need the upper bound, take the total distance upper bound, which is this thing, 352 plus 0.5. And the time taken lower bound, that is 4.2 minus 0.05, divide, and then you get this answer. So one upper bound, lower bound done. Nice question. You want to take a screenshot? Take a screenshot. So can you do one graph of function questions, please? That means something like a full-fledged the drawing graph thing. I think I've done it. And people also do check that today's video that I've uploaded on specimen paper, let me write over here in the comment section so that people can read it. On specimen paper 2B, I mean, check that out for graph. Check the whole paper out, because that is a very useful question. And of course, I'll do one more also. Now over here, matrices, long gone. It was a wonderful knowing matrices. Let me explain this question of trig. It says PQ is a vertical pole. I'll go in that order, and when the graph question will come, I'll stop over there. PQ is a vertical pole. A rope is attached from the top of the pole to the point on the ground, or the lengths are given. Show that PQ is this much. So that is pretty basic. That is Pythagoras theorem. Leave the answer in the exact form also. And this is the answer over here, 2 decimal places, it's given. A second rope is attached from P to point S. A second rope is attached from P to point S. That's over here. So now look at this. This PQR is this thing, this PQR. So this was given as a 2-dimensional, but originally this is 3-dimensional. And then you see another right angle over here, correct? Now it says the angle of elevation of P from S is 36. So P from S, this angle is 36. We already found the value of PQ. What are they asking? Calculate angle RQS. So R, Q, and S. That means if I use this triangle and find this thing QS, that is what I've done. Tangent of 36 is opposite, which is 16.703, unrounded value, divided by QS, make QS the subject. Then I have this length, I have this length, I have this length. Now cosine rule, and then you get the answer. Now, in cosine rule, if cosine of this thing is negative, therefore the angle will be obtuse. Keep that in mind. And if this fraction is positive, answer will come out to be acute. So this thing is done. The third part over here. So let me just remove this thing over here. That is just an extra page over here. So now over here, it says a third rope is attached from P to a point T. They don't show us T. Okay. TPQ is 40. PQT is 97. Calculate PT. So if cosine rule is asked, very high chances that they will ask sine rule. So now this is 40 opposite to 40. They're not asking this. They're asking PT. PT is opposite to 97. 16.7 is opposite to theta. First calculate theta. All the angles add up to 180. Then apply sine rule. And then you find the value of PT. Okay, let's move ahead. Now, someone was asking me a difficult question of graph and a difficult question of this thing. Let's see. This is scatter diagram starts. Now, let's look at this graph question. First, read through it. Complete the table. One value is missing. Use a calculator, fill it up. Next thing, draw this graph. And then there are certain things that they are asking. So I'll go over that. And then this probability question. So graph, all the questions are the same. So I won't say anything like favorite or something, but I'll just mark it since I'm explaining this. So let me ask this thing, mark this thing. So this is nice question on graphs. And this question that just passed by, the trigonometry one, I think this one, that was also a very nice question. So hold for a second. So this is also a nice question. And of course, once the video is over, you can always go back and take screenshots, go over it, and things like that. So now let me go back over here. There it is. First of all, look at the different points, how they have been marked like this. And this is -3, -2, that is this point, -1, that is this point, 0, 1, 2, 3. This is 0, and this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3, something like this. I just marked it at random. And then you draw a smooth curve. Write down the coordinates of the minimum point for your graph for x greater than 0. So what we see over here, this is the minimum point. So if you draw it very smoothly like this, this is the minimum point. So I think this is like 1.3, 1.4. I think this is 1.3, and the y coordinate, you should also write from the graph. Use your graph to solve this equation equal to 0. Now, always focus on this. This thing that you have on the left-hand side. So just focus on that. Is this what is given in the question? X cubed over 2 minus 3, x plus 2. Yes, it's exactly the same. So if it's exactly the same, replace it with y. Once it's replaced with y, whatever is on that side, draw this thing. So basically, draw line y is equals to 0. Isn't that the x-axis? Yes, it is. So therefore, it means find x-intercepts. So what are the x-intercepts? I see an x-intercept over here. That is something like negative 2.7. I see an x-intercept over here, 0.6 approximately. I see an x-intercept over here. Negative 2.7, 0.62. These are the three x-intercepts. That is one question. If functions did not came, this is a nice question, nothing special. Plug in the value of 8, evaluate, plug in the value of negative 2, evaluate, find G inverse X, make sure that you always write this thing. What is that? Let Y is equals to Gx, therefore G inverse Y is X. If it's about Fx, you write Fx over here, you write F inverse X. Replace Gx with Y, make X the subject, X is G inverse Y, X is G inverse Y, write everything in terms of X. And if they ask you to solve a weird question like this, wherever there is X, replace it with 2x minus 1. Expand, simplify, middle term factorization. Again, let me focus on this. That is, show every single step. A lot of people ask this lame question. Can we use a quadratic formula and write down the answer? The answer is no. Do not use the formula. Because, yeah, even if you use the formula, show all the steps. But if it's a middle term factorization, just go ahead and do middle term factorization. So show all essential working. That means it could be about MTF, middle term factorization. It could be about taking common. It could be about difference of two squares. Not a lot of people don't know the name. That is a square minus b square, which is a plus b, a minus b. What else is there? Quadratic formula. Don't just quote the formula. For example, if I say x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. So right underneath it, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Write it separately. A is 1, b is negative 5, c is 6. Evaluate b squared minus 4ac separately. I mean, that is my habit. I'm not forcing it upon you. I'm just letting you know how I do it. Minus 5 whole square minus 4 into 1 into 6. This is 25. This is 24. I'm left with a 1. Then write down the formula. X is equals to negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac, the whole thing over 2a. So minus of minus 5, so that is minus 5. Show every step, square root plus minus 1 divided by 2 times 1. That is 5 plus minus 1 over 2. And then write two options. I need some space. Either or. So either or, that is 5 minus 1 over 2. This is 5 plus 1 over 2. This comes out to be 4 over 2 is 2. 6 over 2 is 3. Therefore, the answers are 2 and 3. That's how you write it. That is all the essential working. Show everything. Because you are giving the paper. The examiner is giving you the grade. It's not giving the calculator the grade. Question number 5. A nice question. It says bag A contains black and white balls. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 black, 5 white. Of course, I cannot write in white color. That's why it shows blue color for this. And then bag 2 contains 5 black and 6 white. So this is 9, this is 11. Very nice conceptual question. So nowadays, they do have a habit of asking a question. So again, in probability scenario, basic decision making, this is a nice question. So this is nice. So now it says George has 2 bags, each containing black and white. George says, I'm more likely to take a black from 2 than from 1. Show that George is correct. More likely, higher chance, higher probability. So what is the probability of black from here? 4 out of 9. What is the probability of black over here? 5 over 11. How can you make the decision when the denominators are different? So keep the denominator same. 11, make it 99.